Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
We can.
Okay, sorry. They reset my computer last week and my Zoom is not working, so I've had to work around. I'm sorry, it's taken me the last half hour to do this. Good afternoon, everybody. We're really excited to bring you a virtual version of the best WEFMAX, and we have some exciting presentations and discussions and breakout sessions to do. But we're going to start with our amazing chair that has led these efforts for the last year, Dave Galbraith. And so Dave, take it away, please.
All right, thanks, Lee. Let's see if my okay, what does everyone see? My presentation and the next slide, or just the presentation?
Yes. We see your slides not in presentation mode.
You just see the main slide?
We see the main slide and the small slides on the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
The next slide. Yeah, I thought we fixed that, but okay, we'll get through it. Welcome, everyone. I just want to take another couple minutes, say thank you to Lee for getting this all going, herding all the cats and doing a great job. And also thanks to Diane for being our support. For 2024, we had 4 simple goals. We wanted to learn something new, make new friends, create some memories, and have some fun. And I think we did that. The new and improved for 2024, we updated host responsibilities and planning documentation online with WEF. There was a new logo that was created that matched our strategic plan colors for WEF. New slide deck, which you see, there was a new pin, new sticker. There was a fundraiser for delegates at large to attend. There was a t-shirt that was developed by Alexi, Bill, and Kelsey. It was a big hit. We created a map of USA and Canada so people could indicate where they're from. We had an opening video montage for 10 years of the past WEFMAXs made by our amazing friend there from Hawaii, Lance Manabe. And Lee did a presentation slides for the past 50 years of presidents and the last 17 years of House of Delegates speakers. And here's a picture of Carol putting her pushpin in Virginia. So we had 3 WEFMAXs this year: Virginia, Park City, St. Petersburg. 193 people attended from 36 MAs. 44% of the people there were first-time attendees, which was a fantastic milestone. And when people filled out the surveys, we had a net 87 promoter score. Diane tells me that that's off the charts amazing. So thank you to everybody.
Excuse me, Dave.
Yeah.
Your slides are not advancing, so we can't see the awesome pictures.
Okay, let me try to fix this if I can. Take away presenter mode. Sorry about that.
There we go.
Okay, so I'll back up. There's our goals. We are just referring. Can you see those now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And that's our new stuff that we just talked about. Okay. Just to let you know, everybody's going to get a copy of these slides. So you don't have to take pictures or write things down. And here's a picture of Carol Martinson putting her push pin on the map. That was a huge hit. I think that they might want to do that again in the future. A lot of people really like that. Because this is what it looks like when everybody put their push pins on, and then we connected all the dots with the host city with some dental floss. So you could see how far people traveled to get to each of the WEFMAXs. So it was a really cool graphic. Some of the things that we did at the WEFMAXs is we learned a lot about local history, content. On the left-hand side, you can see we were on a Black history or American or African-American history tour with a local politician, counselor that was telling everybody about the history of Virginia, which was amazing. Picture of some people wearing the WEFMAX t-shirts. We went on a tour. We went underground and visited the Renew Tunnel, thanks to Kathy and the group there. And we had a nice dinner theater, not dinner theater, big river cruise dinner in Virginia on the waterfront. So we learn a lot about the local cultures, landmarks. We socialize with many people. We learn the water stories. We encourage everyone in your MA to attend. It's not just for delegates, so it's for everyone to attend. And there's two kinds of people. I've mentioned this to some before, can anybody remind me of what kind of people there are? There's friends and friends we haven't met yet. So my new friend, Clarence from Chesapeake, we met on the boat. We were on the walking tour together. We had a great chat. So it was nice meeting Clarence. My brother from another mother, Robert Howler on the far right, he is the executive director for the Canadian Water Wastewater Association. So we get into shenanigans once in a while, and we were at the Tampa Bay ball game there in Florida. So we were having a great time there. My friend Lance Manabi, met him at WEFTech and actually WEFMAX in 2017 in Winnipeg. And he was passing out those nice shell necklaces and macadamia chocolates. So with all of the stuff that Lance has done for WEF and for us in WEFMAX, you see me presenting him with the coveted 5S lobster shovel from Atlantic Canada. So he was very pleased with that. And we see some friends there, Steve Drangschultz and some others building a bike. We did that in Utah. So that was a community service project. I had a bunch of bikes. Everybody just sat down, rolled up their sleeves and put these bikes together. My team didn't do a very good job because we had the handlebars on backwards and I think the front tire was on the back and vice versa. But eventually we got the bike going, and I hope whoever uses it signs a waiver because we don't want to be responsible if they hurt themselves. WEF is a great opportunity to network with other people with like-minded ideas. You can see in the top left, we had a yoga instructor in Florida that was getting us to do some stretches and some whoop-whoops and all kinds of great things. Top right, we were up bright and early in the morning. Bill and his daughter were missing from this because he was still getting his coffee. We went in for a nice walk up into the ski hill, up into the mountains and behind the resort. So you had to bring an extra pair of lungs because the air is really thin up in Utah, which a guy who lives at sea level found it very hard to breathe. Bottom left, we're talking about leadership. We have Ifateo, who is our immediate past president, talking with Valerie, who is an up-and-coming young professional and a real leader. She's chair of some different events. So I took that candid shot of them just to show that how you have the experienced leadership talking with the new leadership. Don't know what they were talking about, but they were really engaged. And then we have a group photo from Utah down below with a bunch of people that were getting together for the event. And I just wanted to say that we want to be the change in the world we want to see. There's my doorbell. And that was quote from Gandhi. So don't miss out on the next WEFMAX. Very quickly, I'm going to put a plug in here for a work group survey. You'll get a copy of this. I'm not going to read it. There's delegates only. There's a QR scan. And then there's one here for delegates or your member association. So that'll be coming out. It went out in the MA newsletter yesterday with Diane. Please fill out the survey. And there's a link here that goes to I'm not going to click on it because it's not working properly, but when you get the copy, you click on the link and then you can see what the link is. And we'll turn it over to Lee, and thank you very much, and let the show begin.
Thank you so much, Dave. That was fantastic and great highlights for sure. It was definitely the 25th year, and 50th year in all ways. Next year will, of course, be 2025. So we'd like to go into our DE&I Spotlight by Valerie Partisi. Take it away, please.
Can I test the audio before I start sharing? Can y'all hear me? Okay, I was worried when I was shouting at Dave earlier. So let me share my screen. One moment, please. And let me know when that pops up.
Looks good.
You can see it.
So I have just about 5 minutes and 5 slides. I don't know that I'm going to get through these, but let's go ahead and get started. What I would like to talk to this group about, two main things, where WEF resources are related to DE&I. It's plentiful on the WEF website, so I want to walk everyone through how to get to those, especially for member associations. And then if there's time later, I would like to talk about some tools and tactics for creating political pushback to DE&I in recent weeks and months, okay? So to get started, I just pasted a few of WEF's resources related to DE&I in this slide, but I'll take you to WEF's homepage and walk you through how to get there. So this is what WEF's homepage looks like right now. Lots of information on here. You would go to About.
Yeah, I do.
Huh?
What is it, honey?
Kelsey, are you talking to me? I can't tell. Okay, we're just gonna keep going. Sorry, you would go to Membership and Community and then hit WEF Member Associations. That will take you to this lovely page. In order to get here, you do need to be logged into your WEF account. You can find a member association, or here you can access the MA Resource Center, and there's a lot of information in here. So you click on that. It takes you to a bunch of resources here. We've got the MA Grant Program, current deliverables this group is working on, or the HOD is working on, strategic planning, DE&I for MAs. So you can click on that. There we go. And it takes you to this landing page. The information on this page is specific to MAs, but there's another place, if you're not a member association leader, another way to get to WEF resources related to DE&I. So I'm going to go back to the home page. And under topics, you would hit diversity, equity, and inclusion. And shout out to Steve Hamai and his whole team, the WEF staff, for pulling this page together. It looks fabulous. But there's a lot of information on here, WEF resources, current leaders. This year, WEF put out a demographic dashboard of our different subgroups, just to kind of set a baseline of where we are and maybe where we want to go. There's information on how to start an inflow program, and this is where a lot of good meat is. We've got a guide for moderators. There's a guide for facilitators. If you're leading a committee, there's a guide. If you're doing something in WEF and you want to make sure you're doing it right, there is most likely a guide somewhere on WEF's page to do it. So I just wanted to make sure everyone's aware of this information and how to get there. So I will stop sharing or move out of that. Are there any questions? Actually, there may not be time for questions, but just in case. Excellent. So with probably 2 minutes left, I'll just go through this quickly. So over the last couple of months, really, there's been some political pushback to diversity, equity, inclusion. I live in Georgia, and so my state and many of the states surrounding me have put out specific laws that make things a little bit more difficult for underserved groups. So some examples here. There have been entities that have come after certain grant programs for small, women-owned, minority-owned businesses. That's had a big impact here in Atlanta. All over the country, there are those who are trying to influence school curriculum to, intentionally misrepresent historic events. And then this last one here, there is a few groups who are going after university scholarships that are focused on first-generation students, women, minority, indigenous, LGBTQ+, and disabled students. There's a lot happening here, but WEF has taken a different approach, which I really appreciate. So our strategic plan came out a few years ago, and I won't read through these. All of this information is on the website. But what I really value about WEF is, instead of falling prey to pressures or how the wind blows any particular day, we've really dug in on making sure we have a diverse, excited workforce. Our specific industry we have a responsibility to safeguard water. We're water professionals. And so it is of the utmost importance that we're continuing to bring in the best and the brightest talent, looking for those talents really as far reaching as we can. And then I've just got some tools and tactics here. This list is not exhaustive. If you want to chat with me or the committee offline, I'd be happy to. But really focus on your why, your mission, and track your impacts. If DE&I is baked in the way it is for WEF right now, you can always fall back on that if you are getting pushback. Another thing at the MA level is consistently maintaining leadership buy-in. So that means regular training, taking the time to figure out what people's individual sticking points might be. And that's an exercise of its own. And this last one was a quote that I heard Maya Wiley state last week, and it said, "Do not be victimized by fairness, or don't allow others to be victimized by fairness." And I would challenge all of us, if something about that feels unsettling, or, you know, when you kind of sit back by yourself and process this, if that's at all triggering, really think about why and dig into the layers of why that might be unsettling for us. And really, with the severity of workforce challenges we have in our sector, we don't have time for that sort of energy. So with that, I'll leave it be. Thanks for having me, and that's it.
Thanks so much, Valerie. That was really informative. And like Dave said earlier, we will be sharing everything from virtual WEFMAX. So if you missed anything that she covered, we definitely will be sharing that information. Apologize, it's switching to my phone because I'm talking on my phone, but I'm looking on my computer. Technical difficulties, please stand by. So we're going to move on to WEFMAX recap. And we're truly blessed to have so many wonderful speakers to cover what we did in Alexandria, Utah, and of course, St. Petersburg. So we'll start with Alexandria, our very first WEFMAX, and driving workforce development through collaboration and engagement with Christina Perez. Take it away, please.
Thank you. I'm gonna try to start sharing here. And can y'all let me know if you can see that?
It's good.
We can see it.
Awesome. Thank you. So I had the pleasure of speaking to WEFMAX in Alexandria, representing HRSD, so Hampton Roads Sanitation District. We are the wastewater authority in southeastern Virginia. And in our area, we are troubled by a lot of economic factors. We have a large transient military population. We also have a large population of people who end up leaving the area because of military deployment. So HRSD's had to engage next generation of water workers in a whole variety of ways to be able to remain sustainable. So here, I would first like to just give a shout out. I did have additional speakers, Darissa Pitts-Page, actually my supervisor who drove most of this, and Mackenzie Ricard, who is just a fabulous person. She's been an intern with us. So I'd like to talk to you all about 4 of our initiatives, all of them aimed at really introducing the water workforce, water sector into different student applications. So the first one we have, which is a Hampton Roads initiative. So it's called Hampton Roads Public Works Academy. And this nonprofit is really aimed at providing cooperative public utility and public works support. So they do that through training by one, offering at-cost training for utilities and local public works, but also they have an entire cadet program that's aimed at technical and vocational schools. So students in those vocational schools will partner with a local agency. HRSD is one of those agencies. And so we take on cadets over the summer. So during the year, they learn within the schools around some of the areas of the work that we do. And then during the summer break, we take them on as cadet interns and really provide that practical, experiential, on-the-job training. So we've had a ton of success with our cadet program. So 97% of our cadets complete this full summer internship. And it is full-time hours, so it's 40 hours a week for the entire summer break. So it is a commitment. But from those that we've had over the last, I want to say 5 to 7 years, I'm not sure, it predates me. But we've been able to take on 20% as full-time hires, an additional 7% as part-time hires, with the hope of transitioning them to full-time positions. So it's been very successful for us. It's the same success rate or better in some other localities. So this program itself, being able to collaborate across utilities, has been very helpful for HRSD. So much so that we tried to come up with yet another way to engage our student population. So we created what we're calling the Youth Summer Intensive Program. Again, it's during the summer and it is intense. But what we do is for this particular program, we realize that, you know, in the water sector, we suffer from invisibility, and we also suffer from being really good at our jobs. Right. So a lot of times we are outside of people's minds and maybe not in their minds when they're thinking about career opportunities or places or areas to learn. So what we did is we partnered with our local workforce board. So obviously they know where the need is for jobs and training. And so we allowed them to do promotion for our program. And then once they were able to promote and gather a whole bunch of applicants, then we sent them through a traditional approach. So these are high school students, juniors and seniors, but they were required to apply, to interview, so giving them that real world experience. And then we actually put them through what is typically the first year of our apprenticeship program. So they're 40 hours a week. They spent 4 hours each morning in classroom instruction and then 4 hours in the afternoon with on-the-job training. So benefit to them coming out of this program is they would have a year of apprenticeship under their belt within 8 weeks of the program. So if they do retain a position with us, they come in at a higher compensation rate, but also we just start to create this pool of candidates that are willing, understand, and have a really good sense of what does it mean to be an operator. So what I really appreciate this is it actually helps us also overcome quite a few of the traditional barriers for coming into the water sector, especially for students. Anyone who has interns know that transportation is a very big concern. In our area, we also have concerns around food scarcity and such things. So by partnering with our local workforce board, they were able to use their grant funds to create wraparound services for the participants in this program. So that included to and from transportation from the residents to our work center locations. They provided meals for those that required it. They were able to provide, you know, PPE, basically anything that they would need on top of just their employment. They also provided workforce mentoring. So they were paired with a career counselor, so they understand what does it mean to be a professional, what does it look like to show up professionally, what is a professional voice, and really helping that transition between school and work. So next, we also leverage WEF's inflow program, so introducing future leaders to the opportunities in water. So VWE, the Virginia Member Association for WEF, created our own inflow program. So 2023, we had scholars. So we partnered with several of the universities in our area, specifically looking to diversify those that were able to take part, that don't typically take part in other internship opportunities, right? So we don't want to keep battling for the same population of students. So really looking to universities that don't typically participate in internships or don't usually have representatives from their schools. We were able to increase this number of participants in this last year. So the 2024 cohort is going to be slightly larger. But what we do is we partner them with mentors within the water sector. We provide them participation in our state water conference, which Water Jam, such a fun time, which is coming up soon, Kathy, right? So we provide them, you know, entry into the conference to really get them into the networking, to understand what it looks like and be able to make some connections. And so we had a tremendous amount of success. So those participants actually talked to other participants and talked to teachers. And so the program itself continues to grow, which is really phenomenal. And we've had really good feedback from the candidates themselves. So just to point out, there's this page right over here, Mackenzie smack in the middle in the picture. So they participate every year. This last program that I want to talk about was a grant proposal. So under the EPA's grant, we submitted a grant proposal. I just recently found out that we did not get this grant, but it does not make the program any less fantastic. So I do want to talk about it a little bit. Within the state of Virginia, we do have kind of a lack of cohesive training around our exam, our license exam. We don't get very much guidance from our several of our oversight agencies. And so working with our member association, HRSD is really looking to leverage our internal apprenticeship program, which is 47 years strong, and try to understand how do we as good sector partners help others, but also recognizing that we ourselves have a gap in our training, right? We can only train to the processes that we have on site, whereas this national exam has a lot of things that we don't include. So creating this collaborative approach, we came up with kind of different ways. First, we could help with work-related training. So especially with our smaller municipalities or our rural municipalities, it's really difficult for them to get training or to be able to access that in-person workshop type structure. So being able to collaborate so that we can get maybe a virtual setting for them. Definitely providing licensure preparation because the license pass rates in our state are fairly low, especially for our highest class license. And then also being able to provide those required continuing education credits, right? We suffer a lot in being able to get enough to maintain our licenses. So how do we make that easier? And also how do we create accessible training for those that are wanting to take on new processes, understand different areas that might be coming online, and really creating that forward thinking training process. So although we weren't funded, we are currently looking at ways for VWE to help subsidize the cost of this and maybe create a pilot program. But really creating that group of subject matter experts that can really help across the state for our needs. So I'm hoping I stayed within the 10 minutes, and I just want to say thank you. I don't know if I have time for questions or anything, but yeah, my information will be there if anyone ever wants to talk about workforce development. It is my passion, so always willing and able to discuss. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was fantastic. Really appreciate it, Christina. Video is going to work. So now we're going to move on to Kathy Rabelais talking about association collaboration and better known as Water Jam, their joint annual meeting. Thank you, Kathy.
Okay, get off mute here. Can everyone see my screen? Is it presentation mode? Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. Christina's a hard act to follow. She's amazing. And, VW, we are excited to help move that grant forward, even though we didn't get the grant to move that forward. When I said our theme in Virginia was driving collaboration and engagement, and I was asked to kind of talk about VWEA's collaboration efforts, and in particular, we talked about Water Jam, our joint annual meeting, somewhat. This was a little bit condensed down version, so I will not be going into detail as much, but whenever I was asked to present at WEFMAX about collaboration efforts, I immediately thought of my counterpart with the Virginia section of AWWA, Geneva Hudgens. She's not presenting with me today, but I left her on this slide. I invited her to our WEFMAX, and she presented with me, which I thought was just a great way to kind of show our level of collaboration. So with that, I will kind of get us started here. In Virginia, we collaborate a lot. We collaborate with a lot of variety of organizations, whether, it's on some sort of initiative, an event, and, there's different levels of that. The Virginia section of AWWA is, by far the organization we collaborate with the most. There's a lot of reasons behind that. I can tell you that since I've been with VWA for 13 years, our board has always felt like we need to move forward in what benefits our members. So they always have the members at the forefront of what they do. And when you look at our membership, like utility wise, about 60 to 65% of the utilities within Virginia do both water and wastewater. And then, as we all know, many consulting firms, you have people that work in both. And then you have your manufacturers reps that sell equipment to both. And so we find that there's a lot of reasons where it makes sense to work together. So with that, you can see we have a lot of joint committees. These are a list of the joint committees we currently have with the Virginia section. We are going to be adding probably two more committees to this that we currently have that are most likely going to become joint. The first column there is ones that VWEA is in charge of, and then the other side is the one that the Virginia section's in charge of, and we call it the lead organization. So, VWE is the lead on our laboratory practices committee, and whereas the Virginia section is the lead on our safety committee. And I'm going to kind of explain a little bit more as I go through my slides what that means to be the lead organization. In the middle there, I have our annual meeting, Water Jam. That one is jointly led. It's a big bear. And so both of us, both organizations are very involved and hands-on with the management of our annual meeting. So how do we manage these, all these joint endeavors? We have something we call Joint Task Force. We refer to it a lot as JTF. So JTF is made up of 5 executive officers from each board. So it's kind of like the presidential track and secretary treasurer, that sort of thing, as well as staff. We typically meet twice a year. We're flexible with that as needed when things come up. As you can imagine, during COVID, we met, I felt like, once a week. But, just to kind of talk about joint endeavors and things of importance. During this time, we cover our Water Jam, our committees, we have a joint leadership retreat, and then other topics that may come up that kind of require both of us to address. The group provides guidance and direction to the committees, and they also are the ones that approve our annual meeting budget each year. At these meetings, a lot of times it may be something will come up and one organization or will propose something, and they don't make the decisions in a silo. They go back to their full board and say, this is a proposal. They get feedback, and either it's something that can wait to the next meeting and we take it, revisit it again, or it may be something that we have to add a meeting onto, or perhaps we have some discussions via email. But that's kind of the body or the group that manages all of our joint endeavors. And we have found it to be a very effective way to manage. So how do we do this? So when the organization started, doing collaboration and more collaboration, they felt like it was really important, obviously, to have a couple of guiding documents. We have MOUs. We have 2 MOUs. One is just for our joint annual meeting, and then the other one is for all of our other joint endeavors, like our joint committees and that sort of thing. The MOUs are very simple. They don't go into a lot of detail. It just kind of outlines the joint endeavors and, provides, just an overview of them. But both of our MOUs refer to what we refer to as a joint guidance document. And that joint guidance document is kind of what goes into more of the weeds of how we handle joint endeavors. So it talks about specifics like, using our websites, how we communicate, committee leadership, all those sorts of principles and things that we want to make sure we understand about our organization, how to manage things. So little things like logos, like if it's a joint committee, how should, we've got to make sure we have both logos on things. And so it really kind of provides that guidance. The MOUs are reviewed every 3 years, whereas the joint guidance document's a living document. We review that as needed. Sometimes something will come up and we'll realize there's confusion, or we need to provide clarity on something. So we'll kind of look at that document and say, okay, let's either add something, or maybe we need to reword it to make it easier for our volunteers to understand. But it's kind of like the guidance that we provide on how, if you are on a joint committee, these are kind of the boundaries and things in which you work. Next, with this, I mentioned earlier, we talked about where one organization is the lead and over the other one on particular committees and what that may mean. So if we are the lead, we just had our lab practices conference this year, so that one's fresh in my mind, so I can speak on that one. VWEA's in charge of that joint committee, and they have a conference every year. So as the lead organization, we work with that committee. We set up the event registration. We manage the committee's website page. We collect all the revenues for it. We approve the budget for that committee. So everything is run through VWEA for that committee. But with that in mind, it is not in a silo. We are always communicating with our partners at the Virginia section. Whenever I get an email about an event that's coming up, that's on a joint committee that we're in charge of, we will get that event set up on our website. We'll set up registration, and I immediately send it to the Virginia section and say, hey, we have a joint event coming up. Please put this on your website. And they will mimic our event page, but for the register button, it will bring it back to our page to register. So we do a lot of things like that throughout the year. We have created, we share a joint constant contact that we use for marketing events. We found, Geneva and I, we have to send a lot of emails. And so trying to reduce and streamline how we send those. As we know, the more emails you send, the less people read them. So we really tried to be more strategic with that. So we now share a joint constant contact that if it's a committee that we're in charge of, I will go in and I'll create an email and I'll click the VWA membership and the Virginia section membership, and I'll send it to them both versus us duplicating efforts and us both sending that. So we try to do things like that, always in partnership, always communicating, those sorts of things. For the financial management, that is something I have some more information on the next slide, but that is something takes a little bit more time, and I can go into that. But that's kind of how the primary person manages a joint event, the lead association. We have a couple of events, our joint leadership retreat, and if we have something that's a one-off specialty things, doesn't occur that often, we may have rotating staff management. And what that means is, 1 year I'll take care of it, the next year they'll take care of it. So that's definitely what we do with our joint leadership retreat. This year, VWA is in charge of it. So I've kind of been pushing the, planning meetings, I set up the RSVPs for it, that sort of thing. So now on to some of the more fun contracts financial management. So this is something else with the collaboration you really have to think through. I think every organization has to decide what they're comfortable with. But for our joint annual meeting, since it's a large endeavor and a lot of financial associated with that, both organizations get a large chunk of our revenue every year from our annual meeting. That requires, every contract would require signatures of both organizations. Whoever the signatory is for the organization, they both have to sign that. We have had it made up that the budget now goes through the JTF. We also have a separate checking account, and also a separate QuickBooks account, so that and we've developed different separations of power where the VWA treasurer reconciles things, whereas the executive director for the Virginia section inputs data, so that we kind of, have checks and balances in that way. We also, it's under the joint committees too, and we do this for Water Jam. Every month, we send out the monthly budget versus actuals for any joint committee, including Water Jam. So we send that out to the leadership to keep everyone in the know, to make sure that everybody knows what's going on. There's never any surprises, and it just makes everyone feel more comfortable with all of our collaborative efforts. So on our other joint committees, so the primary or the lead organization, those only require one signature. So lab practices conference we just had, I got RFPs, we got the venue. I had our signatories sign the contracts, and then I just share that information with the Virginia section. They don't have to kind of partake in that. And I can tell you what's an advantage of that, in addition, is we're both small staffed. We do a lot, and we both just have 2 full-time staff. So what I have found too is having it like that, where, okay, the ones they're in the lead for, I don't have to manage those so much. It does help with staff management, where there's some things that kind of get taken off your plate. We still know what's going on, and we're still in the know on it all, but we don't have to do the day-to-day work of it. So it really is helpful in that regard. So on the joint associations, we do have each association approves the budget. The committee will submit their budget to the lead organization. We review it and approve it or make changes, whatever, and then we share that budget with the other association. So once again, it's just that openness. Everyone knows what's going on. So, and then we also have the one-off leadership retreat thing where it's rotating differently every year. So, and how do we handle the financials on all this? At the end of the year, we do what we call true ups. We have committees that make money and committees that spend money. So we always say it's like the football team supporting the golf team or something like that, where you have the big daddy that brings in all the revenue, and they have to spread the money out to the other committees. So they basically, for that, if it's a committee like lab practices, we'll make a nice little profit on that event at the end of the year. In December, I'll run all the reports. I'll send a report to the Virginia section and say, this is where we stand with the committee. They look over, ask any questions, and then I'll cut them a check for the profits for that committee. And if it's a committee like our YPs that spend money, I will, do the same thing. I'll say, this is, the expenses, income throughout the year. Here's an invoice. If, they have no questions or they're okay with it, then they cut me a check. So we do that every year in December, and it works well for us in that regard. And the final thing I just kind of wanted to hit on is right here, how do we educate our committees about all this? Because that's a lot of the things. We have our board and we're all in the know, but sometimes it's confusing for our committee. Like, what's a joint committee? What does that mean? So that is why we did start hosting a joint leadership retreat. We do so many joint endeavors. We felt like, that was the best way to get everyone there together, out of their silos, and kind of educate them on the processes in the management of joint committees, joint events, that sort of thing. And then to also provide a great opportunity to collaborate. We collaborate with each other as organizations, but then we also want our committees to collaborate. So sometimes committees may be doing topics that overlap with another committee. So this provides us a great opportunity to get together every year. We try to make it very fun, kind of like a little perk for our volunteers. We provide a nice meal, we provide them a thank you gift, those sorts of things. And then we kind of go over we do some administrative type topics, and then we also try to provide some leadership education, like maybe giving them some tools on committee management. We might bring in a guest speaker, those sorts of things. But we find that it's something our committees enjoy. It's giving them back, and it's helping kind of open everybody's eyes to everything we do and how it all intersects. So that is the short version of my presentation. I don't know if there's any questions. If I went too long or too fast.
We need to move on, Kathy, but you've got so much going on. Can everybody hear me now? Awesome. I think I've got some things figured out now. Thank you, IT. Now we're going into our One Water video with Mary Ann Driscoll. Again, thank you, Kathy. Y'all are doing amazing stuff.
Screen.
Are you running this, Mary Ann? Okay. Awesome.
Yep. Oh, wrong screen. Wait, can you see, do you just see the OWA logo only?
We see the logo, WEFMAX Alexandria. Yeah.
Okay, but you don't see the second slide?
No.
Okay, fantastic. I just wanted to make sure. I can't tell.
Okay.
Okay, check that box. Okay, great. Well, thank you all. I promise I won't be real long. I just wanted to share a little bit in the spirit of collaboration on our joint meeting that we hold in Ohio called One Water. And it's with our counterparts at OAWA. And we've been holding this for a few years now, much like the water jam that they do in Virginia. But I want to give you a few facts. We started in 2014 and it worked pretty well. Over the years, we've kind of come up with some things that we had to work through, and there were definitely some successes. I'll share those in a minute. Our attendance really grew when we decided to combine efforts. So it was really great. We went from about 500 attendees at our last few conferences when we were alone to 1,300 to 1,800 attendees. So we're really reaching out to those people that we want to get to. And we definitely believe that it's because we're working together. There were some successes and challenges along the way. As you can see here, it's great. It's great for dual licensed operators. They can get contact hours in both. We still maintain our identities through different events that we hold over the course of the 3 or 4 day event. And we definitely have higher attendance, as I mentioned before. Some of the challenges, though, were getting, staff to work together. Not as many frontline operators are attending, but that's where our sections really help out. They provide really good information for the frontline operators at a reasonable cost. So that's really helpful. And then I wanted to share our video. That'll be like the next thing I share. It's we decided to do a promotional video for the One Water, and it turned out really well, and we thought everyone would like it. So let's pray it works.
Every single year, I look forward to the One Water Conference.
This is our one opportunity a year to meet in person.
And I just love to see both organizations working together.
To see everybody again, to learn from one another.
We're celebrating every individual at this organization, and this is a time for people to shine.
This is a time of scarce resources and scarce talent. So collaboration is key.
We need to come together even more so than we ever have.
One of the biggest benefits to attending the One Water Conference is connecting with friends around Ohio that I've met through this organization.
Because more important than water is people.
The benefits of attending the One Water Conference are learning about new technologies and new ideas that are available.
What my pain points are, but also what your pain points are, and how to solve those problems together.
Of course, education for those who need contact hours, the ability to compete.
To get a lot of information about workforce topics.
And the energy is just so good and such a positive atmosphere.
When you can mix engineers with operators, with consulting groups, it's a great matchup to have those people together.
People come together regardless of who they are in the industry.
We see the different regulators, we see researchers and operators and engineers, and we see all these different people working towards a better future for water.
Here, if you're in the water, you belong. This is our place.
You get a break from your day-to-day to kind of recharge and refocus to while you're in the industry.
Just learn how much fun these people are to hang out with.
I'm very proud to say that this is the biggest One Water event to date. Over 1,900 people registered.
Everybody look around the room because you just made history.
One Water is outstanding. I'm glad to be a part of it.
If you're in the water industry, this is the place to be.
You'd be surprised at how much you can get out of it.
Each year, it has gotten better.
Everybody should attend One Water who's looking to make a name for themselves in the industry.
Our industry is really unique because there is such a community, and this is like the opportunity of the year.
Build relationships, both personal and professional.
Because we are stronger together.
One place for one cause, one water.
Fantastic, Mary Ann. Thank you so much for sharing. Really
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it. And of course, you have Donnell. So, you know, what can we say, right?
Yeah.
Love his voice. All right. So we're going to move on to what we learned from WEFMAX Utah. And Beth, you're fantastic. I need to catch up a little bit here, so if we can shave a minute or two, but I don't want to rush you, but look at that beautiful view. Isn't that great? Take it away, Beth.
There we go. Unmute. So basically, WEFMAX Utah was my first WEFMAX, and I'm from the Water Environment Association of South Carolina. I'd never been to a WEFMAX, and I kind of planned to sit back and just kind of learn, take it all in. But apparently, that's not how WEFMAX works. And Diane asked me to speak about this Women in Water Life group that we started, and I tell you, it was an incredible honor. Thank you so much, Diane. But I wanted to talk to you about the Women in Water Life Committee. It is a member-driven initiative for the South Carolina Waters Association. And the South Carolina Waters Association is a joint association between the Water Environment Association of South Carolina and the South Carolina AWWA. So basically, the Water Environment Association in South Carolina has about 3,200 members. But normally in a room of 100 people at a workshop, less than 10 will be women. And those are mostly lab and engineer people. So when you talk to women in South Carolina, you hear that most of them have had a very positive experience in their careers, but many still voice a desire to kind of have a platform. Why isn't it advancing? I am so sorry. It will not advance. Ah, there we go. Okay, just have to mean it. But most of them still wanted a platform for support and encouragement from other women. So we started out with some conference calls of about 20 women who were interested in looking into starting a women's group. They decided to plan a function for the 2023 South Carolina Environmental Conference that normally brings about 2,000 total attendees. And we planned a Sunday social with wine from a woman-owned winery, door prizes, and directed small group discussions. There were about 150 attendees, and the energy level, as you can see from this picture, the energy level was super high. We even made badge ribbons, women making waves. That's probably backwards, but anyway, it said women making waves, and those badges were all over the environmental conference. So this kind of is what our roundtable discussions were about. They revolved around these basic questions, and again, the discussion was just really, really great. We made it a point, this is not a men bashing kind of session, but women really shared what they were experiencing and shared how they grew in their careers. And we saw a lot of mentoring happen. So we did this again at the Operators Conference, which is a smaller conference that we have in the fall. It brings about 800 total attendees, and it's specifically for operator training. So that group generally consists of even a fewer percentage of women than the overall industry, but we still had about 50 attendees to a social for that. And that was with no wine being offered because we figured it was actually held during the work week. So we didn't want to do that. So we still had 50 attendees at that one. And again, the same very lively conversation, women just really wanting to help other women and share their own experiences. So we got the core group together and said, we want to move forward with this. We think that there's a lot of interest. We talked about the ideas generated at those first socials, and we started an official joint WEASC and South Carolina AWWA committee. We got funding and we created this mission statement. I won't read it to you. You can read the slide, but our mission statement kind of falls in line directly with our joint association mission statement. So we decided that it was easier to facilitate this interaction and support on a local level. We arranged our local groups by the current district structure, which our WEA of South Carolina has, which is the state's broken up into these 10 districts. So each group is going to have its own special women's group leader. And these are groups, you know, we decided that we were just going to let the groups kind of go with what they wanted to do. Some of the groups wanted to do more social events and to just have more mentoring type situations, and other groups actually wanted to get into more public assistance. You know, what can we do to make our local communities better? So we're leaving that totally up to these local districts or these local groups. And I think we have leaders in every group now, except for the last time I looked, we were still looking for someone to step up for one of the districts. And these are some of the ideas that districts have put forward. A lot of these have actually happened. And like I said, some are focused on community service. A lot of them are, you know, hikes, activities just to get women together, to get women helping each other in their careers. Hey, how did you handle having a baby and being a wastewater operator? You know, these types of things women are able to get together and talk about. We also started an award program, and this is a state award for a woman in the industry who's really kind of risen in her own career and helped in the Water Environment Association in general. And the perfect example is Janet Can, who I think is on this call. I mean, she has led on the national level. She's led in our state. She's been a wonderful leader and mentor in our state for a lot of women. So we did create that award just as a way for women in the South Carolina water and wastewater industry to be honored and recognized for their work. So as a final slide, this is actually the Women in Water Life pin that our leader, Becca Bauer, decided to head up and organize and design. She stepped up and said, hey, I want to do this committee and I want to lead it. So for the past 2 years, she's been leading the effort. And she came up and she said, what do you think about a pin? And I have this idea, and we absolutely loved it. So we got the pins made. We've kind of given them out to our founding members. We're going to give them out as part of our award. And at Utah, they were very popular at the Utah WEFMAX. So we're looking into maybe just offering them for sale. They're not specific to South Carolina. They're just specific to women in water life all over. So we're hoping to get these kind of on a market somewhere that we can make them available for purchase by anyone in, you know, any of the MAs. But that is, I just want to thank, you know, Bill Davis. Bill Davis will wear one of these at our conference just because he is so supportive of this group. And I just want to call out him and tell him thank you for all of his support. Of course, Janet Can. Also, Nina Williams of Alabama gave us a lot of direction when we were first getting started. So, you know, we're still in the infancy phase, but the women in the industry here are so excited about this opportunity just to get together and share and encourage each other. So I will stop there. I think I'm a little bit short because I talk really fast.
You bet. I appreciate it. Fantastic presentation. I'm still wanting a pen. I'll buy one. I'll buy a couple.
Yeah.
Handing out. But I love the idea of, hey, maybe it's a fundraiser. Don't know.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right? We're put it to a good cause. Thank you so much. Now we're going to move into another very passionate, well, Peter, I don't even know how to describe it, your passion for water advocacy. So just take it away. If you could give me a minute back, I'd appreciate it, but I'm not trying to rush you.
Okay, thank you. Let me, can you hear me first of all? And can you see my screen? Both audio and video are good. Okay, great. Well, yeah, yes, I certainly am passionate about advocacy and water, and appreciate the opportunity to share that with you all today. I attended Park City and actually Alexandria as well this year, which was wonderful. And I had the opportunity to share on the National Water Policy Fly-In. This time I want to just take a slightly different angle. We'll talk about the fly-in, but I got my top 8 ways to live water advocacy that I wanted to share with everybody. So I'll try and keep it moving along without swallowing my words too much. Quick intro to me for maybe those folks who don't know me. I was a member association delegate for New England WEA from 20 to 23. Got involved in the water advocacy work group. This past year, I became a delegate at large, representing as my constituency WEF's Water Advocates Program. I'm now co-chair of the newly formed Water Advocacy Committee. I'm also a member of Chesapeake and Virginia WEA. So enough about me. One of the quotes I heard at Park City was, "Our industry is one of the best kept secrets out there." And one of the reasons I got involved in advocacy the last several years is because I don't know about you, but I feel like we're taken for granted in certain ways, and we do a fantastic job, often with minimal resources. So if we don't advocate we need to advocate for clean water, and if we don't do it, who will? So let's get out there and fix that. And I'm going to share 8 ways that me and many of the folks who are working with the Water Advocates Committee are living water advocacy every day. So I'll just spend a few moments in each of these top 8 and leave those thoughts with you. Okay, the first one is WEF Water Advocates Program. For those who are signed up for the Advocates Program, please give me a thumbs up or a wave so I'll see those great members active on the call here. For those of you who are not familiar with it, it's a great program that WEF has set up whereby you can access and send letters directly to your members of Congress and senators on key clean water issues. So some of the calls to action right now are the WIPES Act that I'll cover later, protecting water utilities from PFAS costs and making the polluters pay. So it's a great way for us to engage directly with the legislators to inform them and help them make good decisions. I'm going to leave this QR code up here right now. If you're not a member already, if you're not signed up, please do. Using this QR code, you won't get a ton of emails. It's very selective. It's a kind of a low-key program, and you go and engage with it as you see fit and as you have time. So that's number 1, the Water Advocates Program. By the way, breaking news: we now have over 1,000 water advocates. I think we're at about 1,025. Would love to add 10 or 15 new ones today if you can. So please consider joining up. If someone would like to put a link to the website as well as the QR code in the chat, that would be great. Talking fast, but I'm going to try and keep it clear. The second for the House of Delegates is the Water Advocacy Committee. This was set up this past year. I'm co-chair with my great other co-chair, Christiana, and here you see the whole team. And we've been active pushing out many activities and just getting the word out on water advocacy. So if you're interested in getting engaged on the HOD side, please reach out to myself or Christiana. Okay, writing articles is a great way to get the word out. An article that we wrote earlier this year got published in the WE&T magazine, the Journal, in January. It was a circulation of about 30,000, so great to get that exposure. So consider that as something you might be able to do, is put a small article, possibly in your regional, your member association journal. Some of these excerpts here are articles or just pieces associated with the fly-in or what the Water Advocates Program that we've been able to get into some of the regional journals. These are from New England WEA. The one on the right here was interesting. I worked with the editor of the New England Journal to come up with a kind of a Q&A on the Water Advocates program and the fly-in, and we presented it as a kind of a little one-page article, and we did a few of those, and I think it got some good feedback. So another way to consider living advocacy is try and write some articles in some of your local journals. Presentations. Obviously, I gave, as I mentioned, I presented out on the National Water Policy Fly-In, both in Park City and in Alexandria. Goal was to demystify that whole process and demystify the event. I got some good feedback. Hopefully, we were able to do that for some folks. We also had a brainstorm session and got a lot of input from, I think I have about 70 surveys that I still need to go through and get a lot of good information from people. So presentations are a great way to get the word out, but also to receive input as to what's working and what isn't. Okay, next. Speaking of the National Water Policy Fly-In, this happens once a year. This past year, we had almost 400 people who showed up, over 40 states represented. What I liked most of all was the young professionals who participated. This photograph here is of 18 YPs who were financially supported by WEF to participate in the fly-in this year. It's just a great experience. A few more photographs of some of our advocacy leaders with their legislators. And I encourage you, if you know about it and you'd like to learn more, please reach out. But we'd love to get that number over 400 next year if we could. So just some great photographs, and it's a great experience just walking the halls of Congress. Posters at conferences. This is a simple thing to do. Work with your member association leadership to create some simple posters like this with the QR code talking about the water advocacy program. Put a few of them around your conference on easels, and let's see if we can get some more results. Also at conferences, so this is the Jumbotron. This thing is about what you're looking at, about 20 feet wide and 10 feet tall. But getting PowerPoint slides for some key messages. One on the water advocacy program. This one here was on saving the date for the DC fly-in. So we had these up on the big Jumbotron during the opening general session. We also had these slides used as continuity slides between technical sessions, so that every time a session was finished, these slides would come up with some of the housekeeping slides, just continuing to try and get that message out to everybody. The last tool in the toolkit is just consider LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great way to get the word across. Here are just some examples of some of the LinkedIn that I put out in the past couple of months based on some of my activities, and you get good response, you get exposure for the program, and try to encourage people to get involved. So why are we doing this? Well, consider some of the outcomes in the past few years. This is just the top 3 that I wanted to share. The first is, well, we just got $1 trillion in infrastructure funding. I think that's a pretty good outcome. That's probably not going to happen if people like us and you are not the squeaky wheel and getting in front of our legislators. The Wipes Act, which I referred to earlier, for labeling flushable wipes and do not flush, has gone through the House. It's now in the US Senate. It has bipartisan support on the sponsorship side, and hopefully it will get through the Senate sometime in 24 before the end of the year. Finally, state of Michigan itself has its own wipes labeling act that was just enabled, and that's now law in Michigan, and they now have that underway in their state. So just 3 examples of some outcomes associated with all of this water advocacy work that's being done by so many people across the Federation. And I guess I'll just leave you with, my message is if we who are working in the water industry, clean water industry, if we don't advocate for clean water, who is going to? So we really need to, just to leave you with having done, participated in the fly-in for a couple of years now. There are so many people walking the halls of Congress from so many different industries. We're there for, well, maybe a little more than 1 day a year, but we need to be as vocal and be the squeaky wheel and continue to advocate for clean water so that we get the resources we need to continue doing an awesome job that this industry does. So with that, I'll just go to my final QR code in case you missed it earlier. I'll try and slow down, but hopefully I didn't bust the time budget, Lee. But,
everybody scan it. No, thank you, Peter. You're talking fast, but your passion comes through regardless. We really, really appreciate all you and Christiana do and leading the water advocacy. And thank you so much for presenting.
Thank you. I will unshare.
Right. Get that QR code, scan it, and join.
You're gonna leave it on to the last minute.
So we're going to move on to St. Petersburg, WEFMAX, what we learned. Fantastic growth opportunities for YPs, our young professionals. Olga, are you ready?
mute myself first. Hi everyone, can you hear me?
We can, Olga.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Let's see. And can you see my screen?
Not yet. Now I think it's
Now.
coming. There it is. We're here.
Perfect. All right. So my name is Olga. So originally I presented with Amma Richardson. She's on the call here, and she's my dearest friend and also WEF staff member. She's the person I go to with most of my initiatives at WEF. But I'm gonna try to be quick here. Let me see. Here you go. So I was born in Ukraine, and in Azov Sea. That's where I grew up, right here. And just to give you a quick background about me, and I've lived in Florida for like more than 10 years now. And I went to FIU, Florida International University, where I graduated and where I got involved with WEF. In my free time, I hike, I travel, go to the concerts, and like I walk my puppy. This is my puppy. He came from Broward County, and this QR code is to connect in LinkedIn. So we're not gonna have time to answer the questions. So if you have any questions, feel free to message me. I'll be happy to connect. So how it's all started. My volunteer leadership started in FIU. When I went to school, I went to study environmental engineering, but I had no idea what I'm gonna do after I graduate. There are a lot of options there, solid waste, in environmental engineering, like remediation services, water, wastewater. There are so many, and it's a bit overwhelming. Air pollution. So I kind of went to all the college chapters that we have available, and we went to with my friends, we went to different competitions, different conferences, and I got involved with WEF chapter, student chapter. We have like a lot of presentations. Engineer came to the university, and they presented on how career looks like after graduation, and different issues and different projects, local projects that we had going on in the area. So that was really useful. We went to field trips. It was very useful to understand what it is. And as part of our initiatives, we were fundraising money to send some of our active members to WEFTech. So this is like one of our initiatives. It was a fundraising event at the local brewery. This is like one of our presentations that we had at the NFIU. Like one of vendors came to talk about the pressure sewer system. So it was a fun time. We went, this is like one of our field trips at the local cement plant. And this is my first service project at the WEFTAG. And there are some events and outreaching at the local library for little small kids there. And how the volunteering at the national level with WEF. Well, once I went to this first service project, I kind of fall in love with this. And I decided, like, I was asking a lot of questions there. So it's like one thing after another. I wanted to stay involved, and I started to like help out on the just join the calls and helped with some design tasks, contacting the vendors. If you guys don't know what service project is, it's happening Saturday every year before WEFTech, and it's a way to give back to the community that's hosting the WEFTech. And it's a great opportunity to get your hands dirty. And we planning it the whole year, but we have only one day to complete the project. So this is photos from the last service project. This small group here, it's people who stayed after buses left to finish up, because we took like too many tasks. We wanted to do extra, and yeah, that's like, but it's just great opportunity. If you go to WEFTech, I highly recommend to stop by, not stop by, but spend the day with us. If you can spend the day, just stop by. It's great. So another Another program that I joined with WEF was a Springboard program, and this is that's like explain a lot of how WEFTech is put together. It's sponsored it's completely sponsored by WEF. It's cover all the expenses, all the hotel expenses, food, travel, everything, and it's great opportunity. Like we started with just reviewing some of the abstracts, and when we got there, we were helping out different committees to put together the program for WEFTech. And during the WEFTech, we were like on the way to WEFTech, like between the winter meeting and WEFTech, we helped out to organize all the speakers. And then at WEFTech, we were co-moderating the sessions. So kind of walk through the whole process. It was a wonderful experience, and yeah, I highly recommend this program to everyone. And once you're there, you get your buddy. So I got Tracy. She like answered all my questions. There were a lot because you walk in the room and it's just a bunch of people, very loud talking about something, and you don't understand how anything gonna get done in such a like environment, but it does get done, and it's fun. It's fun and very interesting experience. So the next one, yeah, thanks to Peter. He already talked about the water policy flying. I was lucky to I went there like last year and this year. This year we also added some Turks for our YP recipients, scholarship recipients. We did like our separate webinar for scholarship recipients to explain them what they should expect. And to answer all the questions, we provided some links. We made this a WhatsApp chat. So we had the communication going on there. And we also organized the US Capitol tour the night before the conference started. Some other of my involvement with WEF included I facilitated learning to communicate workshop at WEFTech, presented at the utility management conference, co-chaired opening doors to operation career workshop, but it didn't get through. So now it's a learning exchange, and it's gonna be happening at the WEFTech. Stay tuned. The date is still not announced yet. And I also participate in SYPC mentorship program. So here's some photos from those events. So I don't know how much time I still have left, but conclusion basically, the impact, how it impacted my life, all of this volunteering. And on the personal level, I got so many friends all over United States and all over Florida from this volunteering. Like it's just something that definitely cannot be measured. I gained some more self-confidence. I'm still growing there, but I'm already way better than when I started. It did teach me some time management because when you take so much responsibility, you gotta learn how to time manage. And it gave me a broader perspective on everything else, not only like professional level, but in the personal life as well. On the professional side, it helped me with public speaking, with networking, leadership skills, because basically the service project that I'm chairing this year, it's just like project management, but you don't pay people. So it's like they're working for free. You can't really ask much. So, and it gives me a well-rounded knowledge about the industry, because if you want, like, even if you don't want to learn that, you'll learn it through the conversations, through like going to the seminars, talking with different people that went through different paths. You learn different aspects of the industry, the new things that come out, new technologies, and also like what's the most most common things. And so some tips how to get your YPs involved. at your local MA, but it will apply in at the national level as well. It first is inclusion and diversity, so include them in your events. Provide them room to grow. Make diverse events like I mean, the happy hours are fun, but maybe somebody would prefer something else. I don't know, golf, fishing, cleanups, arts classes. Make them diverse. And I think it would be for all the members to kind of draw all the members to your events, but YPs as well. Active listening, ask them what their interests are and needs, like especially if you don't see much representation, just make a quick survey and see how you can make things better. Provide regular networking volunteer opportunities that are easy for YPs to find and attend. Maybe timing should be better. Like when we plan our conference, FWRC, and we want our YPs to attend, students specifically, when we want them to come to the conference, we have to make it over the weekend or like after 5 p.m. just to make sure that they can do that. Provide mentorship opportunities as a mentorship program. And citizen volunteers can encourage and support YPs at the workplace to join and to be active. So like if you you have some fresh engineer starting in your office, just encourage him or her like to be active, and also like recognize it when they do something, recognize it in front of your group, just to and like just come to him and tell that he did a good job. That means a lot for YPs because there's not much time in a day to do so much, but yeah, that encourages us to do more. I promise it works. And another last but not least is WEF and MA staff help. I go with all my questions to Ama in regards of the service project. And we have Karen Wallace, it's our FWEA staff. And like, I don't know what I would do without them. It would be way harder. So definitely, if you don't have staff, I don't know how it works with in our MA, in other MAs, get one. It's very important. And about engaging YPs at the MA level, that's our leadership workshops that we had. Was it this year? I think it was this year. I think earlier this year. It's been a lot going on this year. So a lot of this is for leadership of chapters, and we got super lucky. 4 of our members got invited. We are right here, so we are very fun, and we learned so much. And yeah, we really appreciate that our MA really supports us. And how to share WEF. So again, like in my experience, how I got involved in both MA and WEF level, I try like to bring this news to our local level. Like I presented about this water policy fly-in, and we had another person who joined us this year, and we had like few other applicants. The same with the Springboard program. We had our Florida member at this Springboard program this year as well. So just try to like break this gap, because sometimes the news from WEF do not reach MA level. So try to encourage people to be active in both, so they can bring this news. And it works vice versa too, because we also presented on our local initiatives to the WEF level.
Hey, Olga, how much more do you have? I kind of
That's it.
Okay, awesome. So. Thank you so much, Olga.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Great information. Love the support of our YP program. So we're going to move right into engaging future leaders with Joe. And Joe, if you can give me a few minutes if possible, but if not, I understand. And then we're going to go right into our breakout session that Diane already has set up. So take it away, Joe, please.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Emma, were you going to load up my presentation for me, please?
Yes. Olga, can you please stop sharing and I'll try and load up Joe's presentation. Thank you, dear.
Thank you. Just a little bit of background about Florida Water Environment Association. We have 1,500 members. We were founded in 1941. Our annual budget's over $600,000, and we have 9 geographic chapters. And we have a very active, we have 14 committees. I think 11 of them are technical committees. We have an SNYP committee that Olga's vice chair on that committee. And I think there's 25 members of that committee. So it's very active. Perfect. There's my presentation. Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you, Emma and Lee. FW Florida Water Environment Association is continuing our commitment to education and engaging future generations of leaders. This is demonstrated by the Public Communication Outreach Committee launching their Florida high school video contest, learning out students can learn how to what not to flush and what to flush. Basically, it's a contest for Florida students. This year, we've opened it up to middle school students, and we invite them to create a video, to share the message about keeping the wrong items out of wastewater. We limit the videos to 45 seconds and can be submitted by individuals or teams up to 4 students. We incentivize the program by providing cash rewards to students and teachers for first, second, and third place. This year, we had 42 high schools participate and 6 middle schools participate. On the next slide, Alma, we're going to show you a video of the first place slide, or first place video, sorry. And if you could run that real quick, that would be great.
Get ready for a Hollywood confession from the queen of toilets herself. This is Toilet Confessions, drama down the drain. Hey dolls, it's your favorite porcelain queen, Toilet, here to spill the tea on what really goes on down in the loo. Let's talk real talk, babes. Flushing tampons and dental floss? Oh no. That is a major no-no for my fabulous pipes. Listen up, my darlings. The only things that belong in this kingdom are the 3 P's. Pee, poop, and paper. Got it? It's like totally basic. So let's keep it glam and avoid any drama down there, okay? Your Royal Highness would really appreciate it.
Thank you. Let's go to the next slide. Alma.
Whoa, dude, come on. That's not even...
Second place.
Whoa, dude, come on. That's not even pee or poo or paper. Only chaos that'll bring. Our sewers only take 3 things. What about wipes? Nope. Tissues? Nope. Pads? Nope. Paper towels? Nope. Your dental floss, it won't degrade, it won't break down, it tangles up. All the things that you flush down the toilet clog your pipes up. Except pee and poo and paper. It's up to you to make the world safer. No wipes and pipes.
As you can see, they're pretty creative and I can go to the next slide. Thank you, Alma. They're very creative. I think once we get their attention in high schools and middle schools, we get them into the SNYP committee, I think we're in good shape. In addition, over the last 2 years, Water Environment Federation, Florida Water Environment Association has recorded over 50 water story videos at our annual conference in Orlando from water professionals. And we have these water stories posted on our Facebook and our social media platforms, and we'll encourage our members to share these posts on their social networks. We've also developed a compilation video of our water stories to share at our social events and student events, and I'd like to play that for you now as well.
My favorite body of water is the Mediterranean Sea.
The spring in my hometown.
The Atlantic Ocean.
Biscayne Bay.
The Everglades.
The Isthmus River.
Lake Tanganyika in Tanzania.
Lake Michigan.
Indian River Lagoon.
Lakaiba Springs. Unnamed tributary of the Yukon River.
I was in the Navy from 99 to 03 on an aircraft carrier. And at nighttime, when everything was all done, we would be looking out onto the ocean, and I would think to myself how majestic all the ocean is, and I love the water. I love protecting the water.
We had a treatment plant at the end of our community in upstate New York. We had no idea what that treatment plant was, but as kids, we broke into it. The operator that caught us explained everything about wastewater treatment, and I thought it was absolutely fascinating.
Growing up, my father used to always take us to the Everglades as kids, almost like every weekend.
I would be fishing out in the middle of the swamp or on the Indian River Lagoon.
Where we were up to our chest in water. I just couldn't believe how vast it was.
Water is essential for life. I don't think that's a very disputable fact.
Well, I'm very passionate about water.
And I love sharing what I know about water and wastewater with operators or really anybody who will listen.
I'm making an impact on my immediate community and the potable water supply for the next 30 years.
I feel like I'm really able to just really dive into all the different sectors, even helping out with the inspectors on new jobs.
We're the only utility that people consume. So I'm protecting over 120,000 people a day.
We can see our products every day. We know how good the product is. I drink it every day. I carry it with me in my bottle, so I'm really, really proud of what I do.
I help clients meet their water demand needs. I design projects. I pilot to see what best equipment would be used for full-scale design.
I'm making a stride to have the younger generation understand what our industry does. When you turn your tap on, you don't expect, anything other than water to be coming out of your tap. So young people out there that are trying to find a career, what do they want to do, but they have a passion for the environment, totally want to talk to them about the water sector.
Like kind of open their minds up to what pipes look like under the ground and where does the water go when we flush the toilet, and can we say toilet in the classroom? Can we say poop in the classroom?
When I took environmental science in high school, I was like, this is so cool. I want to save the world. And I was also like, I'm really good at math and science.
Kids today are really interested in technology and water and how they can use it to see how water works and how it can apply to schools.
We need people who want to make a difference and that are excited and passionate about our field.
There's all kinds of different programs and outreaches that they can take part in, even if it's just volunteer work here at the Florida Water Environmental Association.
The water industry is really one that impacts the most people, whether it be drinking water or wastewater. There are so many people that don't have access to either of those types of systems. So it's really awesome to be able to deliver that and know that I'm making a difference.
The thing that is most exciting to me about it is the sustainability of the water, and how when we think about projects and we think about innovations, we're not only thinking about meeting the current needs, but also thinking about the future generations and making sure that we leave for them a solution that will sustain them and the future generations as well.
Fantastic. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, we have a good story to tell. So our challenge going forward is to share our story every opportunity with our younger generation. We have a good story to tell. So that's the end of my presentation. Hopefully I gave you some time back. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joe. You certainly did. All right. So now we've gone through what amazing things we shared and accomplished between all three WEFMAXs this year, and we're going to move into our breakout session. We are going to have breakout rooms that are set up by Diane already, and we have, if everybody sees the agenda, we have driving collaboration and engagement facilitated by Chris Tabor, and Nick Bartis is going to be our scribe. We have putting the we in WEF and investing in the potential of your membership. Kara and our staff, WEF staff, Brad Levitt, will be facilitating and scribing that one. And then we have leadership of the future with Christiana facilitating, and our scribe as Amma Richardson. So All right, so how'd that go for everybody? Everybody making it back? Okay, so now we'll ask each of the scribes from each session to give a brief report out. We could start with driving collaboration and engagement. Nick Bartis.
Hey, thank you. I hope you can see me okay. I'll read this very quickly. We have just a few moments. We've noted that there are some challenges in some cases working with other organizations. AWDA was gently mentioned. There's also NACWA, which is an effective lobbying organization. There are some civil engineering organizations which are as helpful as well and can be used for collaboration. Kathy Robley brought up in Virginia, there are military societies with whom to network and collaborate. Chris just mentioned what would be the challenges. The challenges could be at the state or MA level. There could be financial limitations with budgets. It brought up that maybe WEF should have discounts, probably for dues. How does it strengthen WEF? Well, advocacy and awareness to WEF. Get the word out. Collaboration builds awareness. Karen mentioned that WEF is WEF Tech to many, many people. They still don't understand what WEF is. It was brought up, biosolids and stormwater has helped to reach and get the word out. And wrapping up, we use a whiteboard where WEF was in the middle of the board. Kelsey brought up some points that there are MAs which connect to local and state organizations, public community, NACWA, rural water, state water, and AWWA is added as a collaborative party as well as local legislative efforts. So I went quickly. I have the notes, so thank you.
Awesome. I love the whiteboard. It's great. I'm tempted to draw.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Putting the we in WEF. Brad Lovett?
Yeah, I'll chime in. Thank you. Carol Hall facilitated this conversation, kind of framed it as two very effective questions. One, has WEF involvement helped with a feeling of belonging in the industry you work in and or the colleagues beyond the organization you work for? And two, what are some ways WEF communities can enhance your career? So Kara's already dropped screenshots of our kind of word cloud responses to those questions. And sort of,
some way, Kara?
I think we can see them in the chat there.
Okay. Just was trying to get them on a big screen.
Yeah, they're kind of, those files are tucked into the chat. Oh, there you go. The big kind of themes that oh yeah, I love that, circle the we. We kind of talked about how WEF connects the dots personally. It can give a sense of purpose larger than your day job, but also the network can directly impact your day job in really helpful ways. We talked about kind of the idea of sanity and sort of checking in with fellow water professionals and the idea of the professional sandbox where events like WEFMAX allow us all to kind of show up and try out new things and learn new stuff. So did I get that right, group? Think that about sums it?
Yes.
So if you see in the chat, Kara, you know, the word clouds are shared there and it'll be part of our notes, but if you click on it, you can make it big and see it clearly. I'm a little blind, so I needed that. All right, leadership of the future. Amma, would you like to share?
Yes. So our question was about how MAs identify and engage future leaders. So to kick us off, Beth Thompson from our South Carolina MA said one of their key strategies is having a YP on every committee. So they have 10 district committees and 10 committees as well. So just across the board, trying to make sure there's a YP on every committee. Christiana from our Florida MA talked about how they have a leadership development workshop that they hold every year. It's a retreat for about 40 to 50 people. And it's meant for all of the leaders at the MA to come together, hear what's going on in the state. It's a day and a half long, and they provide a wonderful experience for all of the attendees. And then Asa from PNCWA shared that she joined her MA through their Inflow program, which has kind of expanded and rebranded into a WAVE program that's more in depth beyond Inflow. And now she's chair of that committee. So that's been useful for getting folks plugged in, and their SYPC committee also recruits participants for their student design competition at WEF Tech. And also they run a mentorship program to help partner YPs with seasoned leaders. That's all.
Thank you, Amma. Fantastic. I was having a little fun with that whiteboard. That's a great tool.
I think Dave yelled at me, so I stopped. I'm not sure what I meant on the chat.
Yeah.
No, I
No,
didn't
it's
know.
great.
Kara says I can't share my screen.
It's all good. It's all in the chat. All right. Well, so we're right on time. Hey, Bill, we're going to wrap this up. So I just want to thank everybody for participating today. An excellent share of information. WEFMAX 2025, Oklahoma is our host at Oklahoma City, April 2nd through 4th. Mark your calendars for a fantastic in-person meeting. Our very young current speaker of the HOD is facilitating that, Alexi Kendrick. So it will be amazing. And then New England is hosting in Salem, Massachusetts, and all the history that goes along with that, April 30th to May 2nd. And then California is going to host June 4th through 6th, location to be announced. So please mark your calendars. Hope to see people in person next year. It's fantastic. Reach out if you want more information. WEFMAX is the place to really learn and grow and share in a very intimate, more intimate setting than WEFMAX, of course. I mean, WEFTech, but of course, WEFTech is the Disney World. So Bill, anything you'd like to say in closing as our incoming speaker-elect?
Well, first of all, thank you, Lee, and everybody that was involved in getting this set up. It's been awesome. Dave and you both did an excellent job, and Diane is always fantastic. It's great to see you all here. And one of the things I was going to do an acronym for WEFMAX that's not the right acronym, but anyway, I decided not to do the acrostic because my family picks on me. Because when we're closing things out, I always say stuff like "we are family," and I get mushy. And I talk about, like real sensitive stuff and emotional. So I think this is my 9th WEFMAX counting the virtuals. I had the unfortunate event of being the president of WEASC during the pandemic. So I had the first virtual batch of these when everybody's still trying to figure out how to do Zoom, right? So having been at 9, I would say that this year, as far as long as I've seen, every one of them have been good. But I think this year, the batch of WEFMAXs exceeded the number of any other year, if I'm not mistaken. Lee, is that correct? So I would like next year to be even bigger. So how do people find out about how awesome a WEFMAX is? Word of mouth, right? So let's tell everybody how amazing the WEFMAXs were this year. And all these great speakers that were on today, it's really impressive to have so many good speakers all at one time. And also just tell everybody that it's free, right? How could you have so much fun for free? All you got to do is pay for your ride to get there and pay for your hotel, and you're good to go. It's free. So put it out there, get some good times. Let's put the we in WEFMAX because we are family. We have a good time, and we are awesome. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you, Bill. We'll wrap up. I appreciate everybody attending today. Hope to see you next year in WEFMAX 2025. Reach out if you've got any ideas or thoughts, how we can improve, how we can share. And if you can just tell one person about WEFMAX and they tell one person, we'll continue to share. Have a great one, everybody.